they go 2-1. Like, that's what could happen, or they go 1-2. Like, that's the case with Houston. It's not to be disadvantaged. It's just the reality is when you have a schedule based like this, it is extremely hard to say that you're going to be a 12-5 team. You're going to be an 11-6 team. You're going to be a 13-4 team. Like, be happy that this team is competitive. They're going to be going up against the best of the best in the AFC. They're going to have a baseline of where they stand among the rest of the rosters. But they may lose some games in the process, and that's okay. You get to find out your flaws in that moment. And then when you do, you'll be more prepared and more established when it comes time for the postseason, even if you are 10-7.
Yeah, and I kind of said this last week too. If we go 10-7, it is kind of a bust, a fail because of what you did in the offseason. But it's a lot better than what you did last year because, like you said, the strength of your opponents is a lot harder. So the 10-7 this year is going to be different than the 10-7 last year.
Like Briggs, the way I can put it is like think of Florida football right now. And I don't mean to bring up college football, but like that's my other hobby that I love talking about. Florida has the schedule that not even college football Satan himself would come up with. Like it literally is simply, oh, I'm not even that sadistic. If they went 7-5 for most teams, that's 9-3, 10-2.
Right.
But Houston goes 10-7. That might be comparable to a 13-4 record when you look at the teams and strength of schedules. Like if Chicago goes 10-7 this year, that's kind of underwhelming when you look at what was added in. Where if Houston goes 10-7, they feel a lot more confident, and they probably lose a few games because of a few hiccups here and there. Maybe you make up for that when you get later on.
Right. Kenneth, you were here last week. So what's your prediction and thoughts on the schedule?
I'm gonna try to be real. I'm gonna put my real cap on. I'm gonna take the fan out. And I think they both the same. I got us going 12-5. I'm sorry. To be totally honest, the reason I do is because of let's go back to last year. All right, we got a rookie quarterback, and the schedule went that hard, but we did see CJ pretty much own the division like later on, right? I know versus the Colts in the first game versus the Colts, it was little hiccups here and there, had the turnover with the fumble, but I felt like after that, like even he said it, after that Colts game, he was like, all right, like he started to be more confident in himself, and then the Steelers came and he tooed him up, and then so on and so on throughout the season, he kept building. Just seeing him grow throughout the season last year and seeing the weapons that he had around him last year and how good he made Noah Brown look like Antonio Brown. Like literally, like nobody saw that coming from Noah Brown last year. And so like just the weapons we added around him. And I understand, yes, the schedule is harder. We playing better teams. We got the Ravens, we got the Chiefs, we got the Cowboys. We got a lot of tough teams, but at the same time, the reason I'm believing we going 12-5 is because of our quarterback and the weapons we got around him. Not only that, the defense got better. The only thing I will say about our defense that I want us to do is go get Marshawn Lattimore. That's another discussion. The reason I want to go get him because as far as the Okuda, Jeff, and what's his name?
CJ Henderson.
CJ, I don't know. Like, I feel like they great depth guys. And to say they great depth guys is kind of a crazy thing to kind of say because if they don't, some other teams, they most likely going to start. But to have them as our depth guys will make me feel even more comfortable that if we had Stingley and Marshawn Lattimore on the other side of Stingley. Like, that will make, like, me feel so confident and know that, hey, we good as far as when it comes to both our cornerbacks. And like I said, Jeff Okuda and CJ, they'll be great, depth guys, just in case, Stingley, sometimes, he gets beat up and he's not always healthy. So there'll be some good guys to step in. But yeah, I got us going 12-5. And the guys, the teams I see us taking the L's to is I think we do lose probably one game in the division, maybe two, just depending on the circumstance and somebody out or something. Division games is always the hardest games because you play them twice a year. So I do see us losing probably 2 games in the division, and then we play the do we play the Bills?
Yeah, Bills in
division?
week 5.
Do we play their division or no?
No. Oh yeah,
No.
yeah.
No, their division you do. You play New England, you play the
Miami,
Jets, you play
we
play the whole AFC East.
I'm gonna be honest, and I hate to say this. I'm hoping we pull it through, but I kind of see us losing to. Sorry, man,
Not the Bills.
I think he's gonna say the Dolphins.
No. I don't see us losing to the Bills, but I see us losing to the Jets.
Oh, that's I can see that. That's
losing
100%.
to the Jets because we're going there and no telling, if it might be raining like last year. It might be an ugly game that we might have to depend on Joe missing, and so
Thursday night game
I see
too.
us losing.
So it's a short week.
So that too. So that's another team I see us losing to. Maybe the Ravens, but I think that'd be a close one. But like you said, Cole, I do see us beating Kansas City. I see that being an exciting game, but we pull it off. And
Kenneth, let me just ask you out of curiosity, because I get the Marshawn Lattimore love. I get the Bleacher Report guy, Alex K. Congratulations, you came up with a pretty article. Good job, I guess. I'm just going to ask you out of curiosity. You have one option. You can bring in Marshawn Lattimore. You let Nico Collins walk, and you also have to give up a 3rd-round pick. Do you do it? Because that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen, is you're going to let go of somebody in the process. You can't bring in a guy that's going to cost you $19 million on the salary cap. Money doesn't grow on trees. So you can go ahead and bring him in, but somebody's walking next offseason, and it's going to be a wide receiver. It's going to be Diggs. It's going to be Nico. It might be both. You okay with that?
I'm not okay with both, but I will be okay with one. And to be totally honest, I'm hoping Nico have a breakout year. Not breakout year because he had a breakout year last year, but I'm hoping he having another great season.
You won't have another one that the asking price goes up. I mean, that's the case, man.
Man, that's a tough. But to be totally honest, man, yes, I will let one of them go. Either if it's Diggs or Nico. I'm hoping, honestly, I want to lean towards Nico because he's younger. But at the same time, whatever happens, happens. If we keep Diggs and Nico walks, it is what it is. But at the same time, I would rather have 2 wide receiver ones and 2 cornerback ones than have 3 wide receiver ones and 1 cornerback one, and then the other one is and you know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, we never know what Lassiter do, you know what I'm saying? But the reason you're right, I have to be realistic when it comes to Marshawn Lattimore because it's going to cost something. Something's going to have to give. But
it's not just salary cap too; it's also draft capital. That's the other part that people that seem to forget about, because you're paying a premium to bring him in.
For sure.
Yeah.
But
he's no scrub. I mean, he's still top of his game.
Oh, without question, which is why the asking price is through the roof, and then the contract, and you got to take on the dead cap money that's going to come with it.
Yeah, I'd rather them just go get Howard. He on the street, he a free agent. Just go kick those tires before you go get Lattimore.
Just bring back Steven Nelson.
I honestly, guys, I'm not gonna lie. Up until about a week ago, that was a probable plan that I think a lot of people would have been fine with. In a death roll, they would have maybe been okay with up until about last Friday, and then that went out the door as fast as his entire persona in this city.
Yeah.
Well, Bo, Kenneth said that he sees us getting beat by 1 or 2 division teams. What do you think? You think we sweep, or you think we split?
People don't like talking about history, but I think it's one of the things where division games are iffy. You never just be like, oh, we're gonna sweep everybody in the division. I think the Titans gonna be a sweep. I don't see us losing to the Titans not one time. Now, the Jaguars split. Colts always find a way to get us, so it's gonna split with them. So I say the 2 losses gonna be to the Jags and the Colts.
Harley, you agree with that situation?
So I had Joe DeLeon, which Cole Thompson knows very well. I had him on my YouTube channel. I asked him about the AFC South.
So sorry, Harley. I am.
I had him on my YouTube channel, and he talked about the AFC South. And the reason I bring it up is when I asked him about it, he said, when I asked him, what do you think? Titans, Jags, Colts, anybody gives us, he said Jags, Colts, Titans don't care. He said Titans don't scare him. I asked Sean Pendergast. Sean Pendergast says Titans don't move him. He said Calvin Ridley don't do much for him. And
for me.
And I don't reply much to it just because both interviews were like very quick and they were short on time. But I keep looking at that Titan team and I'm going, it's really dependent on the quarterback situation. And you could say that for like the rest of the other teams as well in this division. But offensively, guys, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, they just added, oh my goodness, wide receivers. There we go. My goodness, blanked on him. I mean, they just added all of those guys. The offensive line isn't the worst as it was last year. At least on paper, it looks better. Okay, we'll see whenever the field happens. I mean, it's not a bad team, especially, and I won't say a sweep just because you never know what happens with week 18. You never know what happens there. Even if, let's say optimistic, we're doing great things and week 18 doesn't even matter. Hey, that'd be awesome. And we rest some players and they get a win. Cool. But I just think the rivalry is so high right now. I think the Titans, I know the Titans and their owner want to beat the Houston Texans. Like, I don't think they care about the division. I think they care about beating the Houston Texans. And it's a different mentality, but I respect it. I respect them going all in on Will Levis. Now, will it work out? I don't know. My opinion of Will Levis pre-draft wasn't very high of him. I really wasn't. But you can't say that they didn't improve drastically compared to last year.
Yeah, I agree with you. Amy Adams came out and said Vrabel got fired because he lost a game to Case Keenum and in the order of uniforms. Cole, what's your thoughts on the division?
Titans win one game.
Oh,
Titans win one game. They sweep Jacksonville. They lose one game to the Titans. That's my thought.
What about
I'm sorry. Here's the entire point, like guys. They brought in Bill Callahan. They brought in Bill Callahan to run the offensive line. I don't care what their unit looked like last year. I don't care that J.C. Latham hasn't played on the left side of the offensive line. They brought in Bill freaking Callahan. That's the only thing I need to know about the offensive line. I love Pendergast. I know Sean is a good dude. I love Joe DeLeon. I talk college football with him all the time. We have so much fun making fun of each other. They need to be worried about the Titans this year. I'm not worried about Jacksonville. Why? They have the exact same offensive line as last year. What about Indianapolis? Okay, well, Indianapolis and Kenneth, I completely understand what you were saying earlier when it came to, well, that was when CJ turned it on. What does this team look like with Anthony Richardson for 17 games? What with the progression in Shane Steichen's offense does this team look like? And you also bring in Adonai Mitchell, who I was a lot higher on than other people. And you bring in Liatu Latu, who was my number one defensive player. And they also have everyone back on this defensive front. So I can get that game. But Tennessee with that offensive line, number one, also with what they bring in with wide receivers and the consistency of getting a guy that you trust across the middle of the field on third down, Tyler Boyd, who just played in Callahan's offense the last 2 years in Cincinnati. They're going to win a game. Like that, to me, that is the one I'm almost guaranteeing 100%. They will win one game against Houston this year.
I see them win one game, but I think it's because what Harley says. I think it's the last game of the season. I think the Texans are in the playoffs.
Oh, it could.
And they rest. I think we win because it was what, week 7, right? Week 7, week 8 when we played.
I think it's week 13.
Tennessee's
the last one of the.
That's the Indy game. I'm thinking of the last time we played. Indy's in the middle. Yeah, I think we beat them. I think we beat them at home. So, especially if we rock the H-Town blue, like we have to, we can't lose to the H-Town blue. So.
Well, you got to remember that with the alternative uniforms, you get 3 games to do it. So the Bills game is the one where they're going to wear the H-Town blue. The Lions game is the one where they're going to debut the red, and so you get one more game. I mean, it would make sense. It feels like, and that's the thing is like you have that blue on Christmas. Netflix is calling on in. They're going to want to have. It makes sense, or they're going to have the red for Christmas holidays. Like
that dark might clash with the Ravens. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I just like to stick it to the Oilers, or I'm sorry, the Titans any way possible. Like, so if you can wear the H-Town blue, I'm cool with it, but I get it. But yeah, I just, here's the reason why. Like, everything you said, Cole, is 100%. I agree with you. Callahan, to me, is the greatest offensive line coach ever to step on the field. But what turns me down about the Titans is Will Levis. And yes, I know he didn't have a lot of time to throw. He was banged up because he had no offensive line. But it's always that thing. You got to prove it to me. I haven't seen enough to be proven yet. Now, if he comes in 7 games and just throws 302 touchdowns almost every game, okay, then I'm wrong. Like I'll be happily admit that I was wrong. But until then, I just don't. Just the sample size I see, I don't see it happening. But again, I've been wrong. I'll be the first one to admit it.
I'm not down you. I'm not. I mean, the best way that I could put Will Levis is I never liked him coming out when he transferred to Kentucky. I thought that he was a flash in the pan the 1 year with Liam Cohen. And then you see the regression that year. You know, that whole conversation that there was going to be talks of him going number 1, immediate laughter, immediate chuckling, immediately just could not buy into it. The thing I will say is I do like him learning underneath Brian Callahan. And Callahan, whether or not you believe was a major factor with Zach Taylor during Cincinnati when they were getting Joe Burrow developed, there still is the factor of what a Sean McVay style offense does for quarterbacks and how it is very codependently friendly, what you have in the wide receivers. And I think a very underrated addition, whether or not I believe he's a cornerback 1, was like adding in L'Jarius Sneed. You know, they are going to be able to take away one of the wide receivers, even though you paid an egregious amount to bring him on in. Whether or not I agree with it being the right move in terms of what you have, you also brought in Chidobe Awuzie, who understands the defensive formality of what was ran in Cincinnati underneath Brian Callahan. They have one of the best nickel defenders that doesn't get talked about enough in Roger McCreary. You know, they've added in some players like Tennessee. It's so they to me are what I would call a coin flip team, where they are going to be 2 or 3 plays in every game, and if the coin lands on heads, they're walking away with a win. If it lands on tails, they're walking away with a loss. And it's all depending on Will Levis. I think that the offensive style, what you have, fits Tony Pollard extremely well in the backfield. I think at the tight end play with Chigaronkwo is going to be really beneficial. They're not a bad team on paper. Like there's so much unknown, but they're not a bad team. Like Houston, there's a lot of known. There's a lot of we see what this team can be. Where Tennessee, it's a little bit different. It's a lot of if this goes this way, if this goes this way, if this goes this way, maybe they are in the hunt for the division. But if this goes this way, this goes this way, this goes this way, they're going to be picking for a quarterback in a very lackluster quarterback class. Like so many people were complaining about Bo Nix going in the top 12. It was a horrendous pick based off of what the actual need is. But you look at next year's draft class. I don't care what you want to say about any one of these kids in college. They're great. They are fantastic. There is a reason they are called college quarterbacks and not NFL prospects. Just remember that. There's a reason for that.
Okay. Well, guys, before we wrap it up, we know this is the season outlook, so we'll get everybody's thoughts on the season outlook. Harley, I'll talk to you. I ask you first. What's your outlook of this season? AFC
just what record-wise, or
the outlook period at the end of the season, where you see the Texans?
I mean, I had them in the record prediction about 12-5. I could see it 11-6. I could see either way. Overall, the Houston Texans, again, I think they suited up for what is a very tough schedule. Adding Stephon Diggs and having arguably the best trio of wide receivers in the NFL, hey, it's pretty healthy to have along with CJ Stroud. You added Joe Mixon. So the offense, defense, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun watching football again here in Houston. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Cole said, man, there's a lot of knowns. You know what you're going to get out of Stephon Diggs. And, you know what you're going to get out of D'Amico Ryan's kind of defense. You expect some good stuff coming out of it with a Daniel Hunter added, Danico Autry. Is there some question marks? Sure. The secondary, yeah, it could be better. But who knows? Like, I remember the San Francisco 49ers grabbing some guys that people are going, why they grab Jason Verrett for? And then Jason Verrett went to the 49ers and played pretty damn good for them for however long it was. He played
4
pretty
games
darn
for
good.
torn ACL for the 5th time in his career.
Hey, it is what it is, but he played pretty good for them in the time being. And, to expand that into Jeff Okudah and a CJ Henderson argument, I don't know. It's a little unfair there, but hey, I like to see what D'Amico Ryans can do with Jeff Okudah / CJ Henderson. I mean, I also look at the 49ers, and I know Richard Sherman, isn't comparable to those guys, to the Texans backups, but Richard Sherman at the time when signing for the 49ers, I mean, a lot of people thought his career was done, and he went to the Niners and kind of had like a second win to his career. So, that's what I'm kind of hoping for with Okudah and Henderson. Maybe not to that level, but hey, you give me suitable cornerback to play. I mean, we saw Kadar Homan randomly come on the field in a short stint. He wasn't even known he was going to play until the literal hour before the game. Went out there and had a pretty decent day. I mean, there wasn't any big plays that I could think of right off, top of my head against them. So I have some confidence with the secondary, regardless of overreactions of a day one OTA. And so, the Houston Texans overall, I'm fine with them, man. I think they're going to still win this division. I think the Colts are going to be pretty competitive with you. I think the Titans could shock some teams. I'm not very high on the Jaguars. I'm just not. Trevor Lawrence doesn't, unless him and Doug Peterson take another step, I just don't see what else they did this year to really give me that sort of confidence. I thought they were going to go get a Brandon Ayuk. There was a lot of rumors swirling around that. Didn't happen. And so I'm kind of like, okay, I look at the wide receivers and going, all right, we saw some of this 2 years ago, but that schedule was a lot worse than what their schedule looks like right now. I'm not saying their schedule is, hard, but it's, for the Jaguars, Doug Peterson, I really wasn't moved with whenever they hired him. I don't know. At the end of the day, the Houston Texans should be able to do their thing. 11-6, 12-5. It doesn't really matter what the record is. I know someone said on here, 10-7 is bad. 12-5 is what should be expected. I don't care. Go 10-7. But if you go to the AFC Championship game or you go to a damn Super Bowl, have the expectations, not been met then? I don't care. Hell, the Tennessee Titans a few years ago did not win the division and made it all the way to the AFC Championship game. So, if the Texans do something similar, hey, I'm super happy. It's what you do in the playoffs. That's what matters.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up that OTAs. Yeah, guys, pump the brakes, okay, about Jeff Okudah and CJ Henderson. There's no pass. There's no pass rush. There's nothing, guys. It's just drills. Calm down. They're getting their bodies in shape. Don't hit the panic button yet, guys. Okay.
Real fast for next person goes. Also with John Mechie, if you think that anybody is making that catch, you go out there and do it. You go out there and do it, and then go ahead and
literally made the same catch against the Browns in the playoffs.
I say, you're allowed to drop it past an OTAs. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world.
I'd rather them drop a pass in OTAs than the game. Okay.
Yeah.
So I take that all day. So yeah. Pump your brakes there, folks.
They call him Mechie a bum and all that, man.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Bo, what you got, brother?
I agree with Harley at the end what he said, where of course you want your team to go have an amazing record. You want to be able to brag about your team throughout the season and win every game. But if you make it to the playoffs, just make it to the playoffs. My outlook is for you to make it to the playoffs, be as healthy as you can be, because we know we get bit by the injury bug a lot I don't know what it is about the Texans, but as soon as you get the train rolling, a wheel pop off, the track get off. So just get to the playoffs healthy, and then we go from there. That's all I want to see. Whether it's 9-8, 10-7, 11-6, get to the playoffs and go crazy. So that's my outlook.
Okay. Kenneth, what
Real
about
quick.
you? Go ahead.
Real quick, for just to be a jealous, like just to be a fan for a moment. I mean, and I know I said what I just said. Damn, man, I would just love some home field advantage. I mean, I would love that. I haven't seen the Texans really lose too many games at home when they're in the playoffs. I would like to see some home field advantage. Don't y'all want to be at an AFC championship game at NRG with the stadium rocking? It's energetic, it's loud, you can feel it, you get the goosebumps already as I'm talking. Like, come on, that would just be electric.
100% Harley, but my reason is more so because I don't want to pay the money to go travel for work. That's my reason. It's very selfish, but
Boo, you're not swarming, Cole. You got to be swarming, man.
Kenneth, what about you, brother?
Like I said, as far as the record, I think 12-5. But yeah, I honestly, man, like Harley, both saying, man, just make it to the playoffs. But at the same time, like Harley said, man, I do want home field advantage. And if we can get that number 1 seed, like that would be awesome. But I mean, at the end of the day, that would be the best things for us because we ain't got to worry about going to KC in the cold, or we ain't got to worry about going to the Baltimore in the cold, whatever it got going on over there, snowing, whatever. Like, it would be great to have the number 1 seed. But at the same time, man, just make it to the playoffs. I think we're going to make noise in the playoffs. And honestly, I think the more games we play throughout the season, the team is going to continue to build. And I'm telling y'all, I've never been this. The last time I was excited for the season this is going to sound dumb, but when we signed Tyrann Mathieu back in 2017, I believe, 18, I was so excited because I'm a big fan of Tyrann Mathieu. So when that happened, I was so excited and couldn't wait for the season. But it's like this all season, I don't know, man. It's like I feel like I'm finna suit up and go play with him. Like, that's how excited I am as a fan. And it's like, I can't wait. I really, really, really can't wait. And one thing I want to bring up, just to tap into it real quick, Cole, I believe you said something about Anthony. I want to ask y'all real quick. Do y'all believe that I'm asking you like this. Do y'all believe he's going to pick up where he left off?
Yes. Yes,
so?
100%.
Why do you think that?
Shane Steichen. That's why.
Yeah.
I literally said on multiple podcasts that went on throughout draft season saying that there was one team that I thought Anthony Richardson needed to go to if you want to see him actually get to his full potential. It was the team that Shane Steichen was going to get picked up by as a head coach. He went to Indianapolis. That's why. It is literally, in my opinion, when you have that arm strength, when you have the accuracy that is possible, when you have that mobility like Jalen Hurts, and you get a quarterback coach that was able to work with Justin Herbert and Jalen, and you're able to get a player that has a little bit of both in there, yes, absolutely. I think he's going to pick it up. They did bring in Adonai Mitchell, which, again, I was a lot higher on the most. I thought it was a top 15 player in this year's draft. I love this tape. I loved everything about it. I love Josh Downs. I love Michael Pittman Jr. I love that run game. It's hard for me to say no. It's so hard for me to say no.
I say yes, but it does take a game or two for him to knock the rust off and get back to where he was. But I do say if he stays healthy, he is going to be a huge threat to the Texans in the division title. Just like Cole said, Shane Steichen is offensive guru, and it scares me that we got to see him twice a year. My outlook, I say we go 11-6, 12-5, but I see CJ Stroud winning the MVP. The dude, look what he did with when Tank Down went down with injuries, and you had Nico Collins, Noah Brown battling injuries. Look what he did. He was still able to produce. This guy now has multiple weapons. We've been talking about the whole episode. He has Joe Mixon, Dalton Schultz came back, Cade Stover, Stephon Diggs. Like, this guy has the weapons. Now, if they stay healthy, there's I think it's going to be not easy, but I think it's going to be a goal to attain. So yes, I see CJ Stroud winning the MVP, and I see us losing the AFC Championship. I hate to say it, but
I respect it.
you know.
I respect it.
Go ahead, Cole. What you got?
All right, real fast. Brandon Holman, here's the deal, buddy. If you want to talk about stat lines, I'm telling you right now, stats lie all the time. That a lot of people lie all the time. Let me make this abundantly clear. Highlights are important. So is consistency. You saw 4 games of Anthony Richardson. Imagine it was 17. So go ahead and shove that away. Did I say accuracy? Yes, I did say accuracy. Go ahead and watch him when he was in college. Go ahead and watch him when he was playing with a bunch of other players back in his time at the very start of the year. Yeah, he's got accuracy problems. He also has a lot of highlights and a lot of high upside. So Anthony Richardson's going to be a problem for the next decade, so long as they're able to have it. Here's the bottom line. What would you rather have? Would you rather have a 13-4 record and still the 22nd ranked run offense? Would you rather have a 13-4 record and not be able to see consistency in the passing game and it'd be the same numbers as last year? Would you rather have a 13-4 record, but your defense is not able to get off the field and you're winning in shootout fashion? So is that really what you want? Or do you want to have a rushing attack that can rank inside the top 10? Do you want to have a passing attack that can rank inside the top 10? Do you want to have a pass rush that can be top 15? Do you want to have a third down defense that's able to get off the field? And instead you finish 11-6. I will always take better numbers with more consistency. That way I feel more battle tested. That way I feel more able. That way I feel more reliant that I can win in so many different efforts on different locations, regardless of home field advantage of anything, than be 13-4 and an early exit in the playoffs. Because if it means nothing, it means absolutely nothing if all you're doing is getting to the next round and immediately eliminated because you can only win one way, because you can only do things one way. It's great that you're able to have an overall balanced offense that's going to be able to, I think, be a lot more potent in the run game, with a more stable offensive line, with more weapons that you can rely on, with a better defensive formalities, especially with another year in the system. Yeah, there's going to be question marks, but also, what happens if Kamari Lassiter ends up being a great outside corner and Desmond King ends up winning in the nickel? Or what happens if eventually they decide to move Jimmy Ward back down the nickel because Kalen Bullock is phenomenal over the top? And then that gives you a lot more versatility. I'd much rather that. Anybody who's saying, oh, well, 12-5 is not the record. If we don't have a 12-5 record, then that's going to be a problem. Guys, you would rather be 9-8 with a top 10 offense in every single statistic and a great red zone offense and lose games by game-winning field goals and have the margin of error be one play than be 13-4 and still have the same mistakes that cost you a spot in the AFC Championship game a year ago. I don't think CJ Stroud wins the MVP. I don't think the Texans win the Super Bowl this year. But I do think that I agree with you. If they play up to the standard of what they can, Houston should be in the AFC Championship game. They should be able to go toe-to-toe with the Patrick Mahomes. They should be able to go toe-to-toe with a team like Baltimore once again. I'm telling you, when you look at this roster, the expectation, regardless of record, is to get to the next stage. But at the end of the day, you still have Patrick Mahomes in this conference. And until somebody is able to consistently break him down, and I mean consistently, like even Joe Burrow, it was a great record. Like it was a great run in 2021. He did it one time. You may only get one shot, but if you get one shot and you still can't get past it, it's because he's inevitable. Until you see someone actually do it, it's hard to pick against Kansas City. But I do think Houston does go to the AFC Championship game.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, guys, our brother that's not here, in the wise words of Crenshaw, this is the worst part because it's the end. Cole, tell us where we can find you on social media and what you got cooking. That way we can support you.
So I do work for Texans Wire. We're there every single day, going to OTAs, going to training camp. We're inside the stadium. We're getting you as much access as possible. TexansWire.com. I'm the managing editor. I'm also on YouTube if you want to follow me at Mr. Cole Thompson. I mostly talk college football over there, but every once in a blue moon I'll throw in Texans. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Mr. Cole Thompson. So the exact same as my YouTube handle, the exact same here at Mr. Cole Thompson. Just go ahead and give me a follow.
And we appreciate you coming on, man. Harley, tell us what you got cooking. That way we can support you, brother.
You can find me at @TheLead_HOU anywhere on social media as well as YouTube. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. It is a new goal. We just passed 8,000 subscribers. So again, super appreciative everybody that has liked, commented, subscribed. So go ahead. Y'all watching. If you still are, you're a trooper. Go ahead and like the video, like the live, man. Smash that like button. Easy to smash your life. Comment down below how y'all feel and how much y'all hate Cole Thompson's take that the Texans aren't going to the Super Bowl. Screw it.
Love it.
H-Town
Come on,
versus
bring it.
everyone. H-Town versus everyone, baby. Let's go shock the world. How about that?
H-Town till we drown. Mr. Bo Diggity, what about you, brother?
Follow me on all socials at Bo Diggity 713. You know where the videos at: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Y'all have we going up, man.
And Kendall, where we find you at, brother?
Y'all can follow me on YouTube and Instagram at Kenneth the Messenger, and on Twitter Messenger_Keno. And yeah, man, just cooking up a few little things with my music and stuff like that and community work. So I'll be definitely pushing more stuff out there to y'all.
And guys, like I said, Crenshaw couldn't make it today, so make sure you follow him at Fifth Word Crenshaw everywhere. Me, you can find A1 Day One Texans. We are at a goal. We're trying to get 5,000 till before the season starts. We're at 2.5. So like Harley says, hit that subscribe button. It's free. Don't cost you anything. It's Texans Fan Battle everywhere. Until then, guys, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night.
Yo, check it out, free rapping for the Texas.